one of the Twin Towers was on fire. There's going to be this giant voice, really loud on the base. All the aircrew run out of this shack. And as we were talking, the second plane hit the other tower.
Let's talk about some moments while you were in the military during your career. There was a lot of moments just in history, right? You had September 11th that happened while you're in the military, and so many other ones after that, of course. Tell us a little bit about those experiences, as much as you want, of course, but like, I'm sure those shaped you and where you were when they happened, because even us as civilians, we remember where we were when those moments happened. So maybe give our viewers a little bit more of a lens of like your side of the table and like what that experience was like as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This might, try to keep this as truncated as possible, yet it was one of those moments. I think anybody, that was alive at that time knew exactly where you were and what you were doing.
I do.
And there's a whole generation that doesn't, right?
Oh yeah,
and
I
so
didn't think about that.
I'll paint the picture to answer your question. I just left the Pentagon and was selected, into the B-2 program. So went to Whiteman Air Force Bases, which is the only base that the B-2s are housed or live, right? So all of them are there. So there I am, and I'm starting B-2 training October 1. So I'm real excited. And until then, I get to fly these really cool little jets called a T-38. They used to be the Thunderbirds. You guys are familiar with the Thunderbirds?
Oh, yeah.
They used to be the jets that they flew, right? So fast, it's fun. So I'm flying that around, and I was the first woman on the base to fly. So a lot of the security guys knew me coming in and out of the base, right? And I'll come back to that in a second. So it's September 11th, and my colleague said, "Hey, come with me. We're going to go to the tower early in the morning around 8 o'clock because I want you to watch the response to a nuclear generated exercise." And I said, "Okay, that'd be great." So we're at the tower around 8 o'clock, and he says, "So you have all the air crew in this alert shack," and you could see the shack. And he said, "Here are all of the hangars with the B-2s in them." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, "What's going to happen is there's going to be this giant voice, really loud on the base, and it's going to give this code word, and it's going to say it really loud, and that's going to alert, the air crews to report to aircraft as soon as possible and await, further instructions." I'm like, okay, that's really cool, right? So I'm just all excited for this to happen. As soon as he explains it, sure enough, the giant voice gets on there, and they go, and the code word, unclassified, by the way, klaxon, klaxon, klaxon. And you're like, oh my gosh. And you see all the aircrew run out of this shack, get in their cars, and they're going to the respective hangars. And at the same time, the hangar doors, if you can just visualize this, just open up. And you see, if you've ever seen a B-2, it is just this incredible sight of air power. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. I'm like, I get to fly that, I hope soon. And so they all run in there. And I said, now what happens? They go, well, they're going to read in, different codes, and they're going to decide what they have to do next, either taxi or shut down, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, that's great. So right after that, it's about 8:25.
9/11.
and I go to the gym because they're doing exercise. You can't really fly. And so I'm going to the gym. And as soon as I walk in the gym, all those security guys that I've gotten to know over the last couple months, I said, hey, ma'am, you're a pilot, right? And I said, yeah. I go, what? They will come with me. And they took me to the TV, and one of the Twin Towers was on fire. And they said it was a plane. And I go, well, that's odd. It's really, it's nice out, no weather.
Clear day.
It's not, in the pattern like that. That's not where they would normally fly. And as we were talking, the second plane hit the other tower, and we all sat there in just disbelief. And within a minute, I can't believe I'm saying this, they had beepers, right? I mean, a lot of people don't know what beepers are, but they had beepers, and it went off. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is for real. And the moment that a lot of people don't know is our whole military, the triad of the military at that moment. That means the Navy submarines, the missiles, underground, and the bombers were all poised with nuclear weapons because of this exercise. The timing was just, we couldn't redo that. So we were all poised for a nuclear war exercise, of course, at that moment. And everybody was on pause because now what do you do? What was the next potential, terrorist attack if there was going to be one? And the Joint Chiefs had to make the decision: do we launch all the B-2s, or do we keep them there? And so that's a little bit about where I was that day. And as a young airman, what I learned is, no matter what you're doing, if you're in the military or if you're in corporate America, the importance of knowing how to do your job and knowing how to do it well.